Welcome to another week. We're still in the middle of the monsoon season, and that also means that we are in the middle of ant swarming season. Since I don't have any vials or anything suitable to catch ants and queens, I will use this. This is a pair of harvester ant reproductives, currently in copula, or getting it on. The queen apparently has already got enough and tries to bite the male and get rid of him. The male, however, tries to cling on to her for as long as possible to keep her from mating with other males and also to have some more fun. After the mating, she will try to found a new colony and he will die.
Laying in a deck chair, feeling the sunshine, sipping margaritas all day. Having a good life, got you by my side, summer should never end.
After cooking and having lunch at home, I wanted to take a shower and then head to uni, but at 44 degrees / 111 degrees outside, it's not really worth it taking a shower before you go on a even just 10-minute bike ride. So yeah, just go to uni sweaty and come home and shower then. Alright, now I'm gonna go. What's that gonna become?
Sharing the same bed, spending these nights, having sex whenever we like. Laying in a deck chair, feeling the sunshine, let's make these waves.
In case you're wondering, I didn't record at all basically last week because I was deeply busy with doing experiments all on my own. And yeah, half of my days I was spending with preparing and doing the actual experiments. And if you want to know what that looks like, you can check out my last week's vlog. And the rest of my days looked something like this.
Let's make these wishes come true. Got a damn good life, got a good life, got a damn good life, got a good life, got a damn good life, got a good life.
That is writing the last bit of essential MATLAB code, and therefore I had to look up some arctangents algebra. When we had that in school, I never thought that I would use it anyway. Well, that's how life goes. Then running lots of other code to convert videos and get the position lists, and this one just finished. Boy, I had so much trouble with this because both of my Windows computers decided that they needed to update very urgently. So they just restarted in the middle of a conversion or running a code without saving anything or doing anything. Then I had to run it again and basically lost 2 whole days because of that. Yeah, now I've turned off that automatic restart and I'm smarter. But that made me also realize that I haven't had a certain kind of emotion in a really long time, and that is anger. I was just so stressed out and angry that this wasn't working. And I don't know, it has been a long time since I was really angry. It was a weird realization.
Good life, got a damn good life with you.
Today finally some cool things are happening. I will have 2 meetings with partially the same people about all of what I have been doing in the last few weeks. Tracking and everything, yeah. So until then, in about 2 hours, I will have to have analyzed basically my whole data. At least a little bit, so that I can say, in which direction they're heading.
Got a good life.
While I'm waiting for some code to be done running, I am editing a vlog that is the one from the Montreal summer school. And yeah, every time you edit a vlog, you kind of relive that. It gets you into that situation again. So every time I look up and want to do something else, there's kind of a sad realization that it's not like winter and there's no snow and it's just 40 degrees outside.
Got a good life, got a good life with you.
Yes, I decided to yet again shift the boundaries between weeks in these vlogs. I just finished the first proto version of my poster so that I have something to get feedback on. Now, in a sort of small lab meeting where other people also present their talks that they will be giving, at either IOSSI or another, I don't know what it is, animal behaviors or ecology conference that will be held simultaneously where other people of the lab are going to. Afterwards, I will try to find some time to tell you what exactly I have been doing in the last week in terms of data analysis and everything, because it would have been a little bit choppy and cumbersome to explain to you while I was doing it, since nothing really flowed really well, but you will see.
So there's this larger...
If you remember, a couple weeks ago the ants were swarming, and I think some of them still are, and we were collecting a few queens to rear on our own. Now I'm gonna check on them. Alright, still alive, but she hasn't laid any eggs yet. So this ant queen has laid some eggs, and some of them are already developing into larvae, so maybe in 2, 3, 4 weeks we can see first workers hatching.
With you.
By the way, now that I had to look it up again, I was reminded that I got another travel grant awarded pretty late, so they apparently got some extra funding where I applied, and so I just, got some extra $1,500, which is nice, but the best thing about this is that I can write this in my CV. Another achievement unlocked.
Got a good life.
Alright, I'm back. I only got a few minor comments on my poster, so it seems like people were all in all pretty happy with it. That makes me confident for the poster session at the conference. Now, as promised, I will very quickly, I hope, run you through the whole process that I have been doing in the last few weeks that I didn't really record. So in the beginning I have these videos and I have to pull them from the SD card to the hard drive. And then the next step is to make those grayscale videos out of the raw video, and therefore I use FFmpeg, which is run from the command prompt. So this is what it looks like, and then you have to type in basically like one line of code that converts something like this, one line that clips the video and crops it and does other things with that, so that the file size is very small and I only capture the information in the video that I really need for the analysis later. So that runs for about 2 to 5 hours depending on the computer it's running on, usually like overnight, and then the real analysis starts. With the MATLAB code that I have been working on for so many hours in the last month or even more. I started with that way back in November maybe, or even earlier, and yeah, since then a lot has been going into that. Yeah, then I let this code run overnight because it takes about like 10 to 12 hours. And what we get out of this is then this list here, which looks like this when it is plotted. So that are all the ants that this program has detected, and they are only like dots. So these, even though they look like tracks, I don't have the information of which point here belongs to which ant. So that then is what this next code is doing, that runs for only a few minutes. And this list translates visually to this plot, where every line here stands for one ant that is walking around intuitively. Yeah, the problem with that here is that in this perspective of this 3D plot, you see a lot of what I consider noise. That is just the edge of the arena where there are a lot of black dots that the program interprets as being ants that are just sitting there, because the z-axis here is time. So we need to get rid of this. This is why I have to run most of this code here to get to the next thing, which is connecting the individual dots between the frames in order to make whole trajectories, because before we didn't know which dot was belonging to the same ant. And after that process, this picture looks a little bit different. So now this is all nice and clean, and the color indicates, well, a different track. That is mostly a different ant, but you know, tracks are getting chopped up and everything. And so yeah, this is something that I will also have to tackle in the future. I also need to run a little bit more of cleaning of tracks that are too short or that don't make sense. once I have the clean track list, I move on to the next and I think last part, which is I create all those CSV files of individual tracks, and they are looking a little bit different because I programmed something that automatically these different metrics here like mean speed or step length and angle of turns and so on is being calculated by just pressing one button. That is probably the thing that I'm most proud of in this whole thing because it makes my life so much easier, and I can like feed in every X, Y and time coordinate list and get out a lot of really cool metrics, indices, or parameters of that track. And yeah, even if I were to change the tracking system to something better, I could still keep that. And then once I have created all those CSV files, I can then make a summary CSV file that I can then use in the last step, which is being done in another program called R, where you also have to code a lot, which is annoying, and they don't give you good error messages, so it's a pain to work with this program for me as a still novice after working with it for like years. So this creates your really cool plots, something like this. Yeah, this is just some index that I calculated in the CSV file before. These are 3 treatments, so the 3 days. If you have seen the video in which I talk about the whole schedule and the setup of this experiment, you will know what this is about. So yeah, this graph shows us the impact of how squiggly the walks of the ants are. And so the crucial part here is, are those 3 indices different between the days? Well, yeah, kind of, and maybe not. This is what this line here tells us. That is a statistical test, and that tells us exactly, well, are they different from one another or not, mathematically. Yeah, and this was basically the whole journey from setting up the experiment, filming and processing everything, doing the stats, until I arrive at this beauty. Yeah, I just was printing. It is a lot smaller than I thought it would be because I had confusion about the sizes, and yeah, it turned out to be, let's say, 75% of the size that I wanted it to be, but whatever. I'm gonna go home and pack for tomorrow, and yeah, also prepare some other stuff. So I think tomorrow in the morning I will still have about half an hour between waking up and having to go to the airport, so why not pack then, right? I mean, I have already pre-packed I think everything that I need, so yeah, should be good to go. I will go on a really fun trip, and I like to think that I have deserved this. After those last few weeks of kind of negative stress also, I'll now have a lot of positive stress and live a good life. See you next week.